Good morning, world. Little Shane here. Well, strap yourself in because I got a few things to say. I'm here to talk about fake martial arts, fake martial artists. Okay? Well, let's talk about the fake martial arts aspect. Okay? What is a fake martial arts? Well, there are some out there that I would classify as fake. Like, I can't remember the name of it, but it's this martial arts where it shows these heavy set people and they're just slapping and it just looks ridiculous. So I would classify that maybe as a fake martial art. Or the Denmark style where they're saying they can knock you out by touching you, and then there's another guy out there who claims he can knock you out and move you without touching you. Yes, those are fake. Throw those right out there. They're gone. Now, a while back in China, a man, an MMA guy, was boasting how he could, beat Tai Chi masters and all that stuff. And he got challenged by a Tai Chi master, and he beat the hell out of that Tai Chi master. Does that make the Tai Chi martial art fake? No. Maybe outdated would be the proper term, but not fake. Traditional Chinese martial arts are not fake. They had a huge hype in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, but a lot of people will take the hype and think a lot of that's true, right? Like they'll think, oh, they're great martial artists because they can break bricks. Well, yes and no. I don't see a point in breaking a brick. If you want to break a brick, get a sledgehammer. But some people, they take those breaking competitions very seriously, and that's okay. It's up to them. It's not for me. But were they fake? No. Chinese martial arts isn't fake. Are they practical in hand-to-hand combat? Some yes, some no. And that's what people are mistakenly call fake. Like when you take a long time to learn say a traditional Shaolin style, say a snake, and then it doesn't work for you in the combat area, those people are going to say, oh, it's a fake martial art. Well, no, it's an outdated martial art, right? You got to understand, modern MMA today is, a combination of multiple martial arts. It's, kickboxing / Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, sambo, judo. I mean, it's a big hodgepodge of everything. That's the evolution of martial arts. That's what martial arts is. It's a form of evolution. You learn one thing that works, you teach your student, then your student says, well, yeah, that worked, but what if we add this to it? And then that keeps going and going in a progressional sequence until you got what you have today as MMA. But if you were to go by the logic of, well, this MMA fighter beat this Tai Chi master, therefore Tai Chi is a fake martial arts, well, you could take that same MMA fighter and you could put him up against in a no-holds-bar fight against a guy in the Navy SEALs or Spetsnaz, and those guys would kill him, and then what? We could say, well, the MMA is fake? It doesn't make sense, right? It is what it is for what it's being used for, right? Now, Tai Chi has evolved to a wonderful form of exercise. Balances your mind, your body, and your spirit, for those who believe in spirit. But it doesn't make it fake. It just makes it, it went to a different form of evolution. It is now a great workout. But I've seen some people who do Tai Chi that, 75-year-old seniors, they can still take their foot and bring it up to their head. I mean, that's not fake. I can't do that. I couldn't do that when I was in shape. You should learn to respect all martial arts. Okay? You don't have to want to train in all martial arts or feel that it has a use for you. I personally am not I'm never going to take Taekwondo. It's not for me. I don't think Taekwondo is a bad martial art, but being very visually impaired, I just don't see a point in me trying to kick a target all the time. It's not practical for me. Okay. Now, let's go into fake martial artists. There are probably a ton out there. You know, in the again 70s, 80s, and 90s, they got away with a lot. Frank Dukes is one of the most famous fake martial artists out there. And even I don't think he was a fake martial artist. I just think he was, you know, full of bullshit, which was a shame when I found that out because he was like one of my childhood heroes. But once I saw the evidence online, I was like, yeah, he lied a lot. But does that mean he didn't know martial arts? No, I don't think so. I think he studied and trained in martial arts. I just think he, you know, I think guys like that, they're not happy with what they have and they think they should be something more. So they embellish the truth or outright lie. And I think that's what he did. And it paid off for him. I mean, he got a few movies out of it. No, well, he wasn't in them, but he helped co-write them. And he got to live in Hollywood as a star for a little while. So, you know, good for him, I guess. There's another guy, I think his name is Jake Mace. People are calling him a fake. Now, I can't say he isn't a fake, but I've watched him do his forms, and they're pretty tight. Like, he seems to know what he's doing. But again, I don't know him. I'm not, you know, sticking up for him. I did watch some YouTube videos explaining why he's a fake. And some guy said, oh, he's a fake because he left his wife, and he tried to rip off his martial arts students, and he's a scam artist. Well, okay. Well, those are horrible things, but that doesn't make him a fake martial artist. It just makes him an asshole. So, you know, like again, I don't know about him. I'm not saying he's a fake, and I'm not saying he's legit. I'm just saying the forms I saw him do and the techniques I saw him do, they looked pretty tight to me. Take that for what it's worth, you know. I myself think that you should study under a person and get to know that person and judge for yourself whether or not you want to train with him or whether or not you believe he's fake. I got called a fake teacher multiple times from multiple people, and it's because wasn't associated with there's a Canadian Sambo Federation. I didn't get associated with them, and there's a Wing Chun Federation. I didn't get associated with them. I didn't get associated with them because my teachers weren't associated with them. And my teachers weren't associated with them because most of them were old. And what I mean by that is my Sifu came from a time when a lot of Chinese martial artists, I guess xenophobic would be the proper term. They didn't go around, you know, hanging out with other schools. They'd have competitions against them. In the 19th century, I believe, is when the Wushu Academy started going nationwide in China. But there was still a lot of resistance from other martial arts schools, and they didn't join up. My Sifu felt that joining one of those organizations, you know, there was like duty fees and all that. He just thought it was a money a scam, and he felt that he didn't need to be a part of that, and that was his decision. I personally regret not joining those federations when I was opening a school, because I think that would have helped me with my reputation. Because you see, we're in an age of the internet now, so you know, if you Google Shane Halfyard and you don't see him in the martial arts section of whatever, then people would say, "Oh, he's a fake." No, I just didn't join or didn't apply to join. Same as the Sambo Federation in Canada. I didn't try to join that because my Sambo coach wasn't a part of it. He said, "What's the point? Why would he be a part of it?" He didn't feel that it was necessary. So, of course, I grew up thinking that it wasn't necessary. So when I opened up a school, I didn't join. And did it hurt me? Probably. I had a good steady run of students. My height would be about 25, and then, you know, but generally I had a good 12 to 15 steady students for the 10 or 12 years I was open. And that was great. I enjoyed it. I loved it. but it really irked me when someone would call me a fake. I had this one guy. He was, I believe, a second-degree black belt in traditional jiu-jitsu, and he was supposed to be fighting. His name was Lane Llewellyn, and he came to my school because he heard I was teaching Sambo, and his so-called opponent was someone who enjoyed using the knee bar and Achilles locks. So he wanted some coaches on how to get out of that, because I believe he said to me that traditional jiu-jitsu doesn't cover that. Well, I said, okay, great. But he took a look at me, and even I had like a little paunch on my tummy. I wasn't obese or nothing, but I wasn't like ripped, and my thick glasses. And he just already judged that I didn't know what I was talking about. But yet he stuck around and trained. And he would say things like, "Oh, leg locks don't work. I don't know why people study them." And we had a time where it was like free time, you could spar and stuff. And I took my then top student at the time aside, and I said, have a match with him, and if you can beat him with a knee bar, do it. Match lasted less than a minute, and my student had him wrapped up in a knee bar. And I was like, why is he putting down leg locks? He clearly needs help with this. So then he proceeded to have matches with several of my students, and only my lowest ranked guys lost against him. My top student beat him, then the next guy in line beat him, the next guy in line beat him. I think 4 or 5 guys beat him in matches over and over again. And then the rest, who were just learning, were only there a year or two, lost. And did that make Lane a fake? No, I don't believe so. I believe he knew jiu-jitsu. I believe he had his black belt. I believe he was even going to fight. But it just goes to show you that the belt, the rank, doesn't mean anything. It goes by the work you put into it. And when I wasn't around, he then proclaimed to my students that I don't know what I'm talking about. And the only reason why they are as good as they are is because they keep practicing. So one of my students, I believe it was Joel, hey Joel, said to him, well, that doesn't make sense because he's the one who's teaching us what to practice. So that was a fun time for me. But I was insulted that people would consider me a fake. It really ticked me off because of all the work and hard work I put into it, and the time I took to teach my students. I worked hard at that. So yeah, it bugged me. But looking back, now that I'm older and wiser, I can understand why people may have thought that about me. I have very thick glasses. I'm completely, my vision is not that great. So my teaching process was a lot slower. I had, as they say, no lineage, because that's supposedly important. And I wasn't a member or an associate of any federation or club or group or whatever that is. So yeah, I can understand why people thought I was a fake in that aspect. As a much older person now, I get it. But what people should have done and should always do is don't judge just by the teacher. Roll with the students. Talk to the students. Train with the students. Get an idea of what they're learning. Because if you're walking in and you're already a black belt in, say, judo or jiu-jitsu or taekwondo, and the guy who's been training with this so-called fake teacher beats you, maybe you should give some credit where credit's due. Maybe you should give some respect then. Because, if the teacher doesn't know what he's doing, why would the student know what he's doing, right? Why would that, how would that make sense? Right? And I used to tell people, don't judge me by looking at me, judge me by how I teach my students and how my students behave. And I believe you should do that for all martial arts, right? And all martial artists out there. Because when they talk about lineage, they're talking about who your teacher was and who their teacher was and who their teacher was. Well, I got to tell you, okay, in a world with 7 billion people, you most likely aren't going to hear about their martial art teacher or who their martial art teacher was, okay? Because only a handful of them are standing out in the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it is. So when you talk about, oh, who taught you? And they say, oh, this guy taught me. Well, I never heard of him. Who taught him? Well, this guy taught him, my master. Well, does that diminish what they have to teach? No. No, it does not. Yes, we'd all love to train with the Gracies and the, who else is big out there? I don't know. Some guys. We'd all love to train with the Gracies, the Matthews, the Chuck Liddells, the Randy Couture's. But the fact of the matter is that just doesn't, it's not possible, right? And then you go, oh, well, my teacher was with Huon Gracie, and so he must be a good teacher. Why? Why does the fact that your teacher was, one of the your teacher trained on one of the Gracies, why does that make him a good teacher? It doesn't. Okay? I'm not saying they're bad teachers. To please, I don't want anybody out there trying to kick my ass later on. I'm just saying who your teacher trains under does not make them a good teacher. Right? Hell, even if you train under a great fighter, that great fighter may not be a good teacher. Right? Because sometimes you can get really great fighters out there and they suck as teachers. They don't have the patience. Right? I'll use an example of how I taught. When I was teaching a student a technique, whether it was a kung fu form or a sambo takedown, it didn't matter. They would get visibly frustrated if they weren't getting the move right away. So my policy was, don't worry about getting it right away. And if you're worried that I'm going to be mad or disappointed, it isn't going to happen. My job is to teach you. My job is to answer your questions and to help you and guide you through these moves, whether we have to do it once or 1,000,000 times to get it right. That's my job, so you don't worry about it, which put a lot of them at ease. That was one of the teaching techniques I used. Now, it worked for me. Other teachers may have different techniques, different ways of doing things. That's what makes the world go around. We're all different. So in closing, don't be afraid to ask your whatever teacher you're going to go to, what style it is, how long they've been teaching, and don't be afraid to take their free classes. And take your opinions from your friends if they have them. If they say, oh, I don't think this guy's a good teacher, but don't be afraid to train under that person for a couple of days or a week and form your own opinion, right? And train with the students. In fact, the best way to judge a teacher, in my opinion, is their students. If their students are hardworking and they're organized and their moves are, they're doing them reasonably well and potentially can get them really crisp and clean, then chances are that guy knows what he's doing. Right? Now, if the students are confused and don't know what's going on, and the teacher is confused and don't know what's going on, then yeah, it's probably a good idea not to train there. It's not for you. You need a well-organized environment. It doesn't have to be so disciplined that you're like in the military. I joked around constantly while I was teaching class. I don't know, go figure, eh? But we still got the work done, and that's what was important. And when I would say it's time to train, we stopped joking and we trained. So yeah, feel out the person you're trying to train under, get to know them, get to know the students, and then make your judgment. Okay? And for any up and coming teachers out there, My advice to you is, if you're training hard and putting the work into it, get yourself associated with one of the federations out there. Right? It won't hurt you, and in the long run, it's only going to help you. Anyway, that's it for now. Till tomorrow, remember, you can do it, and you're worth it. Take care.